Hey everyone, welcome to Pacha Sound. This is my studio in Toronto. This is Guillermo Subauste. I'm a producer, engineer, and musician in the city. And I wanted to make this as my first video on this outlet I have, where I'm going to be sharing some tips and tricks and experiences that I've gathered through the 20 plus years I've been doing this. As a drummer, bass player, guitar player, producer, engineer, mastering engineer, tour manager, etc., etc. I want to also touch on a lot of what happens on the road as well. I think it's important for musicians nowadays. And then, yeah, I wanted to wait until I had the nice camera set up and I got a perfect take and everything. But I figured that if I keep doing that, I'm never going to get started. So this is me getting things started. I had to go with a fancier microphone than just using the microphone on the camera, but it's a good first step. And here we go. First of all, again, my name is Guillermo. I've been doing music since maybe 1994 would have been the first year I wrote a song. And then in 97, I formed my first band. It was a punk band, and we played for maybe 5 or 6 years. Started doing smaller shows that got bigger, did a couple of albums, sold them. Were able to pay for stuff with the money we were making from the albums, because back then, people could sell CDs and make money from it. Um, and then, moved to Banff at some point from Peru, got a scholarship to go to the Banff Center. If you don't know about it, you should, because it's also an incredible place. And if you're a musician or a sound engineer, you're going to meet some of the most amazing people and mentors when you're there as well. And then went back to Peru and eventually moved to Toronto, Canada, which is where I've been since 2011. Since then, I've been working out of studios. I work out of Revolution Recording, which is a really cool place, as well as having my own studio like this one, and taught at a place called Recording Arts Canada, where I met a lot of really cool students and was able to, get a good taste for teaching and how to inspire other people through it as well. I love what I do, and I think that being able to share some of that passion with other people that are interested in how to get started really satisfies me. And I also wanted to share some of my experiences when it comes to overcoming some difficulties. In my case, about 9 years ago, I started having some weird episodes where my left ear actually would feel like I was having a head cold, or like when you get out of a plane or when you're in a pool and you get some water in your ear and it feels like you need to pop it. So I was getting that, every few weeks. I've noticed that if I took something like pseudoephedrine or some allergy pill, it would go away and then it would be fine. And then fast forward to a few years later, it started happening more often, and then it actually wouldn't stop. Sorry, the antihistamines or the allergy pills actually had no effect. And then one day it came with a really bad vertigo episode. So the vertigo, and this is a question I'm gonna answer before anyone does. Because you most likely have experienced vertigo at some point or know someone that has experienced vertigo. That does not mean they have the same thing I have. There's a million different things that can cause vertigo. In my case, it's the ear fluctuations with the kind of vertigo it was. So it felt like, imagine if this is the ear that was affected. When I was having an episode, which would likely last about 2 hours, it would feel like my head was inside of a of a washing machine. Basically, everything was spinning in the direction of the ear that was affected, and nothing would stop it. I would take gravel, I would take different remedies for vertigo and dizziness, and it would just not work. Obviously, this was starting to really affect my life, and I realized that also it was affecting my hearing in the sense that anything from 400 hertz down, which is pretty high for those that know music, or for those that don't even. If you think of a piano, the middle note, the middle A, is around 440 hertz, which is very close to 400 hertz, which means that after that octave, if I kept going low in the notes, I could not hear the notes on my left ear, which obviously for what I do was disastrous. However, I was able to to be fine. After a couple of hours, the vertigo would go away and the hearing would go back to normal. So obviously, I was starting to get worried. I saw many doctors, and none of them could actually pinpoint what it was, until one time I had a test scheduled right at the same time as when I was having an episode. So they were able to see exactly what was happening, and I was diagnosed with a condition called Meniere's syndrome. I didn't know what it was, but they told me it was incurable and that all I could do was reduce my sodium intake and take beta histine, which is a diuretic. Um, I didn't know what it was, so I was not that concerned about it being incurable. Especially if it was treatable by diet and forms of different kinds of pills. But unfortunately, it didn't work. It kept happening. I was able to connect to many different ENTs. I saw Tibetan traditional medicine practitioners and Chinese traditional medicine and naturopaths, chiropractors, osteopaths, rolfers. Like I saw everyone spend thousands of dollars trying to find a solution for this, and it was not working. I found an ENT, Dr. Lee, who's a specialist in Meniere's, and he helped a lot. We were able to look at different options. Um, the danger or the most anxiety-inducing aspect of this disease is the fact that it is incurable, yes, but also the more it happens, the more chance it has of becoming permanent. So even though the episodes were actually lasting only a few hours, I was tired for the rest of the day, and there was a chance of it becoming permanent. There is a chance of it becoming permanent. Um, to this day. Now, it's been 7 years almost since the last time I had an episode. I was having it very often, and Dr. Lee, who is the ENT that I saw at the end, after actually being really positive and being very hopeful that we were going to find a solution, was actually not able to find one. We upped the beta histine intake to almost 96 milligrams, which to this day caused surprise in any on any pharmacist or new doctor that sees me, because it is a lot of beta histine to take. However, something that ended up keeping this at bay for that long with no changes so far. I haven't had a single episode, and my hearing has been perfect since. But I was able to find a combination of a diet and a pill regimen that has been keeping inflammation on me to a minimum. Because something I should say is that Meniere's is actually an autoimmune inflammatory disease. So the reason it's not curable is because inflammation is caused by different things on different people. I was lucky enough to find mine, and also there's a couple of people that have heard my story and have been able to also reduce theirs. So I'm hoping that making this video, and maybe there's someone out there with Meniere's that is scared as I was, and is also going through the process of trying to find a solution that works for them. Hopefully they can try something similar to what I did and it works for them as well. But anyway, my main thing was I either find a solution to this or become a monk and, you know, do a vote of silence and dedicate my life. I'm not religious, but I was going to just, dedicate my life to service and not connect with anyone I knew in my past life. There was no meaning to life for me without music. Or without being able to enjoy music. Because apart from the not hearing low frequencies and the vertigo, which were very incapacitating, sound in general would be really messed up. 1 kilohertz, for example, would sound at one frequency in one ear and then at a different frequency in the other ear. And again, I've been doing this for more than 20 years, so I can hear all those differences really well. For most people, if it's something with their sight, they'll be able to tell exactly what's going on. But for hearing, unless you focus on actually working your ears, or like how good your ears are, it's something that requires you to be really aware of them. And unfortunately, I was really aware of them, and it was becoming a very hellish experience. It was not fun at all, and I was running out of ideas as well. And I was about to have a kid, and I was worried about what I would be able to provide to them and how I would be able to even carry them and all that stuff. But anyway, fast forward to what I was able to find. Um, I did lots of research, not Google research, but actual, medical papers and studies, and connected with different scientists that are doing studies on Meniere's, trying to get involved in some of their tests, just so that I could give them feedback that others couldn't because of the audio training and all that. And then eventually, what I found was that a combination of, yes, sodium, which is the first one they tell you, caffeine as well, no alcohol either. So things that can dry you up, basically. So none of that, more than 7 or 8 years now. But what actually ended up helping the most was quitting gluten. I quit gluten, I quit dairy as well. So the whole list is gluten, dairy, sodium, caffeine, and alcohol. Um, I've reduced my beta histone intake to 32 milligrams per day. And I also take cetirizine, which is an antihistamine, and I take 10 milligrams a day. And I found that a combination of all those things and all those restrictions have actually made it so that I can keep doing what I love, and that I can keep enjoying music and having a great outlook in life. And I'm not out of the woods. Again, it's incurable, so it could come back at any other point. But I'm a bit more hopeful, because I know that, again, it's caused by inflammation, and it would just be a matter of finding what new thing is causing inflammation on me, and how I can fix it, basically. Um, but yeah, my main point is that music is awesome. I'm glad that I'm back at it, and I want to start sharing some of what I do, and how to do it as well. And yeah, have more people creating, have more people collaborating. I love to still see how newer generations are starting to get into music and what moves them. And yes, physical copies are not a thing yet, but we're still here, and music is still a thing that we enjoy making. Sure, the monetary part is a bit harder now because of AI and all that stuff, and we'll for sure cover a lot of that through the different episodes. But yeah, let's keep creating. Let's make it human. Let's make it real. Let's make sure that things are organic and we're having fun and with no stress. And yeah, see you on the next one.